Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at PHP web forms and file systems. So what are web forms? We use a form to collect data, and in web form, a web form is a form that is on the web that we put on the web. So in order to create a web form, we will need to create an HTML. A web form is always created by HTML. So without which most of our time, let's go to the class. So I'll start by creating a page, an HTML, a new file. So I'll name it, let me index this page, index.php. So I'll create a new HTML file. So let's do now. In order to create the form, we have to use the form tag. Then get our input. So today we'll start by creating, as an example, I'll be using a basic registration form. So let's say a registration form for an event. So I'll just use event registration. So I'll start creating my input tag. Type text. And name will get out. Let's use first name. I create a new input form. I mean second name, last name. Then I'll get the date. That's the date of birth. Now create available. Let me make this one availability if they be available for the event. So let me run it. Oh, I've created a folder named web form, so I will start it here. So here we have it. So I'll name this. Let me make a placeholder and put the first name so to be easier for us to know which field you. So create the placeholder for this one also with its last name. For this one, date of birth. This one for this available, I can just create maybe that for web available. So we've created this is an example of a web form. So we use it to collect data. An example of a web form is our login form, our registration form we normally see. So I just created a basic, let's say a basic event registration. So when you also need to, for a web form, you will need to have a submit button. So I'll create a submit button for this. So type submit. Our value will be submit here also. Yes, submit. So here we have it. a basic web form. So now, if you are going to, let's say we input anything here. Let's say our first name, we can put first name John, last name Doe, date of birth, if available years, submit, nothing happens. The reason why nothing happens is because we need to have an action which you direct them to, and we also need to have a method, a post method. We have post method, we have two types of method, a get method and a post method. A post method is to post, like to send a data somewhere, and a get method is to get a data from somewhere. So now we need to create, yeah, we need to have an action. I'll create a new page, a new file that will do all the necessary actions. I can name it form action.php. It can be any name. So I'm just creating this file to do that. So our action, which is form action.php, and our method, like I made mention of, will be post, because we need to send data. Okay, now any name, I'll use our first name John, last name Doe, date of birth, if available years, submit. It takes us to a blank page. That's the form action, because there's nothing happening in the form action. So we need to write a script that does that. That would mean we need to write a script that actually gets that data from this HTML form, also known as a web form. So we'll start by writing our PHP tag, PHP. So yeah, we need to write a method that a script that actually gets everything that is here. And if you type anything here, nothing happens. So we need to write maybe a conditional statement to actually get what is in this form, whatever we input in the form, whatever we input here, we need to send it to that web form. So I'll start by writing a conditional statement that says if is set, and use $sign post. What $sign post is like, it gets whatever you see right in the post method. So it gets whatever we're posting here and it puts it here. So we use post submit, because it is the button here that validates whatever is here and sends it to the action. So we use if is set, if post, if we click on this submit, if submit is valid, then we have to have everything, every input that is here has to have a name, because it's the name that we use to actually, in the name is actually unique to every of the inputs here. So for the first name, we have an input name, and a name for a name input for first name is first name, first underscore name, last underscore name DOB, name available, name submit, like that. So we have if it sets post submit, let it echo submitted. So let's get it now. We have our input here, John, first name John, first last name Doe, date of birth, available years, submit. So we have it here. It gets it because it's validated that okay, everything here. You click on the submit button, so the submit button validates it and sends it to this form action. The form action is where all our processes takes place. So let's start by creating. Let's start by getting all the inputs that we have here. So you use the post, the $sign post. Let's call post. Okay, let me name this variable first name. We have post. Let's call first name. Variable last name. Post underscore last name. Variable date of birth. Available. Then we have our this. We already gave the submit button, so we don't need to write this one. You can also have the input. Instead of using this input, you can name it as button. So you can also use type and name. Yeah, for you to better understand it, let me use button tag. So button submit. Okay, let's do this. Let's test our code now. So our first name John, name Doe, date of birth, John, Doe, date of birth, available years, then submit. So we have an error here. Oh, no. We have it here. So let's check if everything here, if everything we have here has actually been sent to this form action. So let's echo everything out. Echo our first name, our last name, date of birth, available. So let's try it now. Let's try it again. Have our John, have our date of birth, available, yes. Then submit. All our inputs have actually been taken. Our first name, last name, date of birth, and availability. So that's a basic web form. That's a basic web form. So now we've gotten our data. So we need somewhere to save it. Like we get our data, there's no way it just saves it on the client side. That's our browser. So we need somewhere to save it. There are two methods you're going to save it. We can either use a database or use a file system. So just because of this lecture, we're going to be using file systems. So let's go straight to file systems. So what I've already explained what a file system is. Just is to get our data, just to save data in the file system. So now for you to better understand it, there are different methods in file system. So there are different methods in a file system, and one of them I will show it here soon. So one of them is file put content. Let me show you. Let me show you. Okay, let me show you file systems. So for file systems, we have different functions. We have the base name that returns the file name of the path. We have the copy that copies a file. We have the delete that deletes a file. We have the file function that returns a file, whatever is in a file as an array. We have file underscore exits that checks whether the file is in a directory or not. So I will create a new folder where we are going to save our files to. So let me name these files. So we need a function that actually saves, that actually puts files in that folder. So what I'm going to be using is file get file put content. So we'll be using this. So what this does is that it puts all our files inside the folder of the files here. So I'll write it. Let's name it. Let's put our directory, which is files. No. We'll name it. Let's have this as our. Let's use our first name, our variable first name here as our file name. Dot. Okay. Then let's use our extension. Sorry. So we're using this our folder, which is files. So for us to know normally, we have to have a way of getting everything that is here, because if we want to do it, we have to be getting everything one by one. So we need to put everything in an array. So it gets everything and saves it inside the files folder. So let me put everything in files folder. Let me create a new array. I'll put array, what that's called, data. So which is our first name, that is, which is our first name here, last name, date of birth, availability. So now we have everything in an array. So we're going to put, so we need to get everything that is in array here. So you can now save it inside the file. Create it. So we can just have our variable here, our array, which is array underscore data. And we can use the name. Let's use the first name as our name. As the name of the file, we can just use array to get the first name .txt. So now let's run it. We have our first name, which is John, last name, which is Doe, date of birth, available, yes, and submit. There's an error here. Online. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let's try it again. First name, last name, date of birth, submit. So let's check if there's you can see now we have a new file here inside web forms. We have inside the new file we have john.txt. This is we've actually, what we did here was that we used a file for a function that puts all the files inside all our documents here. It gets it, gets our part here, which is the files, gets everything inside, all data inside the array, uses the first name as the name of the file extension, and the array data, which is everything that's there, and saves it inside it here. We can also have different extensions. You can use .csv, for example. That's see, we have our CSV. We have our service in CSV. As the data is here, we need to have an organized way of putting data properly. We need to have an organized way of putting data properly, because you will need to actually read some files from using the files. You need to actually get some files, some names, some variables from what we have here, and let's say pass it to the front end, which is the client side. So what you can do here is you can use JSON encode. What JSON encode is, converts everything here to JSON. So we can use the extension .json. We need to use .json to anything we're converting to JSON. We need to have our JSON. We need to have it in JSON format. So we're using .json. So let's try it again. Okay, another error here. Okay. So we have it here, John.json. So this is it. Our first name, which is John, last name, which is Doe, date of birth, and available years. Everything here is in JSON format. So now So we're talking about our we're talking about the file systems. So I've already said file systems are is a way of putting our getting our data and saving it somewhere. We need to save our we are saving all our data as a file. So we use page. There are different functions here. Like I've made mention of different functions. We have the base name that returns the file name. So let's try and use the base name to get it. So I can just use we have the copy, we have the delete. So let's try delete for example. So let's just unlink. So what this does is that it actually deletes a file from the database. So let's do this. So now you can do unlink. So let's try it now. Let me, let me delete everything that is here. So we have only the first name John that is here. So you can use John first name, last name, do date of birth, variable yes. So I think there's an error here. Unakuja toka eh? So basically that's all about file systems. We use file system to save a file, to get files. Instead of using databases, you can use file systems. So, but file system is not secure. If you are using, you can't use file system for sensitive data because they are the disadvantage of file systems is that they're not secure. So it's not advisable to use file systems for saving data. But just because of today's class, just get you introduced to all this. You can actually use a file system. Maybe you want to get maybe a table now, for example, and convert it into can you get a table now and get convert into a file, into maybe JSON format, or so just get data and put the files there. So